Hi, welcome to CNN Student News on the very best day of the week. I'm Carl Azus, broadcasting from the CNN Center. First up, Americans pause to recall the tragic events of September 11, 2001, and to pay tribute to the people who lost their lives in those terrorist attacks 7 years ago. President Bush declared it one of the worst days in America's history, but he vowed that the country will always honor the heroes of 9/11. That's exactly what many people did yesterday at ceremonies across the U.S. Nanette Sosa has the details on this day of remembrance.
A day to remember and to honor those who were killed, the 7th anniversary of the September 11th terror attacks. That day, terrorists hijacked airplanes to crash them into the Pentagon and the World Trade Center. Another plane crashed in a Pennsylvania field. In New York, twin beams of blue light were projected into the night sky in memory of the fallen Trade Center towers.
Andrew Anthony Abates.
More than 2,700 people died there. Their names were read aloud at Ground Zero.
Today marks the 7th anniversary of the day our world was broken. It lives forever in our hearts and in our history.
Presidential candidates, Senators John McCain and Barack Obama, both visited the World Trade Center site. At the Pentagon, there was a ceremony to dedicate a memorial to the 184 victims killed there.
Today we renew our vows to never forget how this long struggle began.
President Bush and the First Lady were also there.
On a day when buildings fell, heroes rose.
And in Shanksville, Pennsylvania, there was a ceremony to remember the 40 passengers and crew who died when their hijacked plane went down in a field. For CNN Student News, I'm Nanette Sosa.
Today's shout-out goes out to Miss Morales' students at Carver Middle School in Monroe, Georgia. The railway known as the Channel runs between France and what other European country? If you think you know it, shout it out. Is it Germany, Italy, Spain, or the United Kingdom? You've got 3 seconds. Go! The Channel runs beneath the English Channel, connecting France and the United Kingdom. That's your answer, and that's your shout-out.
Since that undersea tunnel opened in 1994, it's made it a lot easier for people to travel between the UK and mainland Europe. But not yesterday. Officials put the brakes on all traffic running through the tunnel after a fire broke out inside the Aquatic Avenue. Jim Bolden explains how the blaze began and examines the shutdown's impact.
The alarm was raised just before 3 p.m. London time Thursday. British emergency officials called a fire inside the Channel Tunnel a serious incident. Train service was halted on the French and England sides. It quickly became clear the fire was aboard a freight train under the English Channel. These trains shuttled trucks through the 14-year-old tunnel. The fire appears to have originated from a truck carrying the toxic chemical phenol, once known as carbolic acid. That, according to French officials. The tunnel was safely evacuated, with only a handful of the truckers sustaining minor injuries, such as smoke inhalation. Some 2,000 passengers were on trains heading to or from London, Paris, and Brussels on the Eurostar service when the fire was discovered. Thankfully, there were no Eurostar trains taking the 20-minute journey through the tunnel then. But service was suspended, leaving thousands more stranded in train stations.
We only speak to one guy, and we don't have any, real information about other plan,
So we're back in London, having missed our connection over in France, and we don't know what to do. So we're just sort of trying to find out what's next, basically.
We're on our honeymoon. We're trying to get home to Canada, and we're trying to get to Frankfurt to take our flight.
Eurostar then told passengers there would be no more trains on Thursday.
Our concern tonight has been first to deal with those passengers who were either en route between the three cities or indeed who were stranded here at the stations. We've dealt with that situation, and people have been able to make their way back home or find accommodation or alternative travel.
The Channel Tunnel is actually 3 tunnels, 2 for trains, while the middle service tunnel is used for just such an incident. Rescue personnel can travel in the service tunnel, and there are cross passages for the truck drivers or passengers to reach safely in the middle tunnel if necessary. The shuttle train itself also has an area to protect passengers.
The actual booths where the people are travelling are hermetically sealed, and I believe, although it's yet to be confirmed, that the area where the people were initially held has a 5-hour ability to withhold smoke from outside. During that time, the service tunnel can be opened and people can run across a relatively short gap to get into the clear air of the service tunnel.
The tunnel was shut in 1996 by a serious fire with damage to the tracks. It took months for services to get back to normal. With hundreds of trucks carrying goods already stacking up on both sides, the chaos this time has already begun. Jim Bolton, CNN, London.
My message to Texans is that in the projected impact area, finish your preparations, because this is a storm that can have extraordinary impact on them, on their personal belongings, and it's on its way. If your local officials tell you to begin to evacuate, follow their instructions, and follow their instructions closely.
Texas Governor Rick Perry there talking about Hurricane Ike. This storm has pounded parts of the Caribbean. Now it's barreling toward Texas. And as you just heard, officials are urging residents to get out of the way. On Thursday, Ike was a Category 2 storm. It measured about 700 miles across. That's almost as wide as Texas. But forecasters are expecting this thing to pick up strength before it hits the state tonight or tomorrow. According to the Federal Emergency Management Agency, about 3.5 million people live in the potential impact zone. Many of them are stocking up on supplies to prepare for this storm. But as thousands of people evacuate the region, others are heading toward it. What? Aubrey Mika, Chancellor of affiliate WOAI in San Antonio, reports on emergency personnel from across the country who are helping out in Texas.
First responders come ready, armed with pillows and suitcases. This group just arrived from Nebraska.
We're just happy, to help out and do our part.
Port San Antonio is the staging area. We've seen this place fill up 3 times just this year, but this time it's different. There are more buses, more ambulances, and mobile command units from all over the country.
With all the weather reports that we're seeing on y'all's station, is that this one could be the one where these guys are actually called into action.
Some buses have already been called into action. Only News 4 was here as hundreds of buses left Port San Antonio, all heading for Corpus Christi. Others are still here, waiting to find out where they'll go.
We drove about 13 hours to get here. That's 720 miles.
Mike Minshew drove his ambulance all night from Alabama. He, like so many others here, is now hoping to get a little bit of sleep before getting his deployment orders.
We're holding right now and waiting to be dispatched out to wherever we may need to go.
And finally today, a quick trip off the beaten path before you're off for the weekend. So you're out having fun with the family and this thing comes along. A 6-foot-long Nile monitor, aka lizard, big enough to kill pets and hurt you pretty badly. What do? 2 Oregon men did what Chuck Norris would do. They grabbed the thing, wrestled it into a large metal dog cage, and transported it to the local pet shop. Now, this next guy we're showing you has not wrestled lizards, but he has wrestled with tough editorial decisions over the last 6 years, lovingly producing CNN student news. From putting the show together, to putting up with me, to putting together bloopers reels that I'm finally getting revenge for, Gerald Smith has been patiently shaping the program you see today since you were in elementary school. But a new job with NBA.com is calling, so Mr. Smith is going to be trading in studio shots for hook shots, late-breaking news for fast-breaking plays. The show will go on, but on behalf of all of us at CNN Student News, we're going to miss you, buddy. And miss you we will. Now that's kind of, as I said, my revenge for all the times Gerald pulled little bloopers reels on me. That's sort of my way of getting back to him. Now we are talking about this on our blog. If you'd like to wish Gerald well, you're welcome to do so at cnnstudentnews.com. Hope you guys have a great weekend, and we will see you again on Monday. Bye-bye now.